The question that I get asked the most often is how easy it is for an Indian to get a job in the US. So in this video, I will be sharing my experience as an Indian and also my friend's experience who is American in the United States. So let's get started. Hi Carl, so go ahead and you can introduce yourself.
Hey guys, Carl Wilhelm here, co-creator of Reactifile and great friend of Harnoor Singh. I'm here today to discuss some of my experiences as an American, contrasting those with Harnoor's in the job search area here in America. Harnoor is an undergraduate student here at Georgia State University versus a graduate student, both in computer science. And I guess Harnoor brought me on to discuss some of the concerns that many foreign students have about their ability to get jobs here. I don't know how much of your audience is STEM majors, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. I assume it's quite a few.
There are a lot.
I assume it's the majority of students that watch your show.
Yeah.
But I guess the most important thing to keep in mind is that STEM majors in general are in very high demand here in the United States. And we can talk about a couple specific instances where actually being not necessarily foreign, but being Indian born or having Indian heritage can actually be a huge advantage depending on the region that you're applying to.
Yeah.
So networking,
Yes.
for example.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So starting recently with the company I applied, I got a call back immediately after applying there. I had a phone interview the next day and I got accepted to the second round of the interview immediately. And I have my second round of interview on 1st November. And here's his scenario. He applied for the same job. And first of all, he got a very different response than he will be sharing now.
So and we're not naming names, but in one particular instance, I actually did not get a reply at all from one of the recruiters who happened to be of Indian descent. You know, it's not clear whether or not he or she was Indian born. But if it was just that one case, then maybe it would not strike me as being so queer. But the fact that this has happened multiple times, where Harnoor has been approached a priori from recruiters, etc., from different companies, just completely out of the blue with no prior connection. So Harnoor has forwarded some of these contacts to other Indian friends of his, and they have been reached out to, or they have been responded to, where I have not been responded to.
Yeah.
So,
and on the top of that, he's a master's student and I'm an undergrad student doing masters combined. I mean, I will be a master's student in future, but right now I'm a dual degree major doing bachelor's and master's together. So that's a huge difference, and he should have been preferred, but he's not.
Well, I don't want to jump to conclusions necessarily, although it's easy to do that because of the qualifications, right? But it's possible that they're simply looking for undergrads, or we have different areas of speciality in our studies. So Harnoor is generally focused on the Android development side, whereas I am more big data analytics and security. So it's possible that there are variables in these situations that we're just simply not accounting for. Maybe not, and maybe it's exactly what it looks like. The point is that if the concern is that as an Indian person coming into the United States, especially being foreign born, that there will not be opportunities for you. I mean, this is of course assuming that you work hard. I mean, Harnoor works extremely hard. So, if you work hard and your grades are right, and you network appropriately, people are even if you don't know how to network, even if you're a fucking robot, people are going to reach out to you. So, try to keep that in context. This is not necessarily something that you should be that concerned with. If you are struggling in that field, I would recommend taking the time to reach out specifically to other Indian students, because there does seem to be a tight network among the Indian community, particularly here. I assume that that's also true in other parts of the United States, but Atlanta has the Atlanta metropolitan area has a disproportionately large Indian population. So, look for places where people, unfortunately this is just part of the reality in the United States, look for places where there are people that look like you.
True.
That's just the reality.
Yeah.
So, and network with those people and do your best to become friends with them. Not overly friendly, okay. But, you know, that's networking is a very important part of the application process here in the States.
Yep.
So,
true.
yeah.
But now when this happens repetitively, then it becomes frustrating. Yeah, and also...
Well, yeah, for me it does. Yeah, for
Yeah.
me it becomes frustrating because I feel like I'm being excluded from a network that is effectively based on nothing but, you know, skin color or culture, especially with India, because it's like sometimes they don't even have common language, so it's like it's literally just or religion even, so it's literally just about being from India.
So here's an example of another company that I got accepted as an intern. So he applied for a different position but to the same company and he got rejected. So that's also an example.
Yes. Well,
yeah.
And that's especially frustrating because you know, there are so many unknowns in that situation. I assume that was an instance of luck because I believe very strongly that in that particular company, and this just goes back to the thing about networks, is that they don't bring people in those doors unless they have already decided that they're going to hire a certain subset of those people. And I believe that the overwhelming majority of the time, that subset is either one, directly related to people who work there, or friends of people who work there, or two, they go to Georgia Tech, which is a top 10 school in the United States. So and the odds of there being some kind of network there as well, because there's so many people from tech that work at this particular company, is so high that it's probably, you know, like there's a lot of overlap between those two different fields. So I assume that somebody was already picked for the job and they just totally botched the interview, and like they just liked you so much that they were like, okay, well, let's go through the list of people who we brought in kind of as a joke. So I, you know, that one is, although it is frustrating, I don't chalk that up to anything. I don't think that's your fault or my fault. I don't think that's anything to do with that. I think somebody else that we will never know completely fucked up their interview, and that's how you got that job. That's just my assumption. That's just my assumption.
I was concerned about that fact because he has better communication skills, and that interview was just a behavioral interview, and
that's true.
Like, so we should have it in the same scenario, but I got in, but he didn't. So that's why I brought it in as a concern. So another scenario that I've seen, I went to an event and that company was biased for international students, not to take names, but they asked us to bring group of international students to our event, and we are willing to sponsor all of them, and we will make awareness how to go through the process of OPT and how to get H-1B visa. And they also told if you will stick with us for a longer time, we will sponsor their H-1B visas. So just to say that some companies are biased.
I can speak to this a little bit because my wife is was originally an international student. Now she's waiting for her green card still. But I don't know exactly how that process works from the company's side. I know that there's some sort of legal application that goes into the sponsorship of the H1. It's H1B, right? Or is it HB1? H1B. But I can tell you this, is that part of the reason why they do that sponsorship is because the expectation is that they will be able to pay the foreigners less. So that makes the foreigners more competitive. Depending on the industry, depending on the field, you know, sometimes it helps also to have a second language. You know, like for example, Chinese, if you're a business student, is potentially very helpful. So I can't speak to every situation, but I do know that a lot of that does happen because the expectation is that they will be able to pay those students less, the international students.
And also there are some companies who are hiring too many H-1B students. I mean, also from India, such as Wipro, Infosys. Those are some Indian companies in the US, and they have like 6 times more Indians as compared to Chinese. So like they hire a lot of Indians. So that's bring a bigger concern. But I don't know what's the reason, but that is benefiting not just the company but also the economy of the United States. So they're just accepting it
most of the time. Most of the time.
And also that's the reason that there's a bigger queue for Indian getting an H-1B visa. And on the other hand, it's not as big for Chinese students because they get PhDs and they get considered for EB1s, and then that helps them in getting a green card directly. So It's a little bit different for them. So that's why we are in the bigger queue to get a green card.
Yeah, it is important to know that you are more likely. I don't know exactly how it works, but I know that because my wife is a business major. I know that you're more likely to get the lottery. Is it? Or no? It's never mind. It's 2 years you can work here with the H-1B as a STEM major, right?
3 years.
3 years
H-1B is issued for 3 years, and OPT is also for 3 years if you're a STEM major.
to work after you graduate.
After you graduate on OPT.
Yeah, for business it's 1 year.
Yeah.
So yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why her wife, your wife's, right?
His wife.
His wife.
For now.
Yeah. Yeah. She didn't get H-1B, right?
No, she did, but she was only allowed to work here for a year because she's not STEM.
Oh,
Yeah. So
that was bad.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, competition is definitely high, but if you network right, if the concern is that you won't be able to find work because you're Indian, I think that concern is largely unfounded.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. It seems like most of the, at least in this region, I can't speak to everywhere, but at least in this region, it seems like most of the Indian students do not have, like, regardless of how competent they are, because some of them are not competent, but regardless of how competent they are, they seem to be able to find work.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
don't worry about it.
100% correct. And your skills needs to be aligned to the requirements of the job position. So
Yeah, that
that's
doesn't
very
mean you
important.
can come here and just fuck off. You know, I mean, look, you need to work hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would. It certainly does not disproportionately. If the takeaway should be anything, it's that it certainly does not disproportionately favor people that look like me. The system,
Yes.
the employment system here,
Yes.
certainly does not.
Yep.
So
that concludes our conversation. I hope this video helps you out. So that's pretty much it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.
okay. Now welcome me to the show.
Okay.
I'm having so much fun with this.
Okay. We look great. Yeah.
We look so professional. Wait, I look fat.
So-
aren't you gonna offer me some coffee? I said, aren't you gonna offer me some coffee?
Yeah. So would you like to have some coffee here?
You're supposed to have like a mug. We should have mugs here with like RP on them. You know, like we have. You know, you gotta step up your game, Arnold.
Okay. So hi Carl, would you like to? So, hi Carl, would you like to have some coffee here?
Okay, that was a joke. Okay, I already have coffee.
Okay.
Okay. I brought my own coffee.
Okay. So starting with my experience, so I applied for 2
Well,
positions.
first of all, you have to introduce me.
Okay.
I mean, who the fuck is this white guy sitting in the corner of the shot here?
Okay.